Hey guys, welcome back to Zethythonix channel and you're watching H.L.M.S, one of the most detailed Gundam lore series. Today I'm donating my brain cells and decided to fry my brain completely. Instead of doing the trilogy like how I announced it before, I decided to split the entire line into 5 episodes. We are starting with Astraea for this episode, then we'll continue to learn in this following order: Exia, Lazio, O and O Quanta. You might as well repeat all 5 episodes when I finish them. I have no idea when I'll complete the whole line. Before we start the video, make sure you're subscribed and hit the bell next to it. Turn on your CC sub, grab your snacks and drinks, let's roll. After the actual battle experiments were completed, the old Gundam's data was analyzed by Veda. Celestial Being then decided to begin the development of the second generation Gundams based on the set data. As the designs were finalized, the 4 new Gundams were made in Krung Feb. Let me do a bit of background explanation before moving back to the MS part. Krung Feb is not very well known as it never appeared in the anime. Krung Feb is an isolated space colony located at the Lagrange Point 3. The name is from a common shortened form of Bangkok in Thai, meaning the City of Angels or City of Gods. To put it in short, it's a colony for MS development and research. Just like how Farish identified themselves, the second generation Gundam Meisters and the related members identified themselves as Celestial Being Krung Feb team. Krung Feb is famous for developing the first to third generation Gundams. The Gundams after third generation is not specified about the development location. One of the 4 second generation Gundams is the Gundam Astraea. The name Astraea is from Greek mythology and tarot cards. Astraea is the goddess of justice. The naming reflects one of the celestial beings' ideologies in a strong way. As I mentioned in the Old Gundams episode, Old Gundam was only developed to test the basic MS abilities, GN Drive's actual battle result, and the GN technology related weapon experiment. After confirming the possibilities of expanding the use of GN technologies, Astraea was developed as a general use Gundam. During the Old Gundam's testing, despite the weapons being more advanced compared to the other factions' technologies. Once the beam gun is disconnected from the MS hands, it cannot fire with its own power. To improve the efficiency of the weapons, CB added GN condensers in the new prototype weapons, which served multiple purposes such as increasing firepower, better particle output control, reduced reliance on the GN drive, and the ability to fire without connecting to the GN drive for a short time. On top of that, the second generation Gundams are all equipped with an unknown number of GN condensers on the body. This change allows Astraea to perform better, as well as expanding the weapon testing options. Aside from the GN condensers, the antennas on the head and clavicle were also remodified too. The head antenna is smaller than the one on Old Gundam. The clavicle antennas are no longer fixed and were also given new abilities: control and manipulation of the dispersed GN particles, jamming radars, and electromagnetic waves in a selected radius, and microcontrol on some parts of the Gundam. Additionally, the clavicle antennas can be removed to reveal 2 hardpoints, which are for the GN launchers. Since the hardpoints are directly linked with the GN drive, they have the priority when it comes to receiving GN particles. Structure-wise, Astraea became way more sophisticated. It is possible to perform human-like movements. Astraea was also originally planned to test out different range of weapons at the same time, so there are multiple hardpoints on the body to make sure Astraea can carry a lot of weapons. The last body change is the GN drive. To maximize the power, the technicians created a new design for the GN drives. Instead of the cone-like appearance, Astraea's Sadao suit and Pluton adapted a new free thruster drive. The benefit of this new design is the increased particle output, which leads to ability to use powerful and high consumption weapons or increasing the propulsion power easily. Although the new design maximized the GN drive's abilities, it came with a lot of risk and questions. First, the control system is completely different, which means it takes a lot of skill to control the new drive properly. Secondly, due to the maximized performance, wastage of particles is inevitable. Lastly, because the new design sacrificed stability for maximum output, the new drive is now full of stress, which means the probability of running amok is extremely high. Due to those concerns, a new solution was made too, which was adding the cone cover back. This configuration is known as the Astraea Type B. durability, although the new cover provided safety and stability. But Astraea is developed to maximize performance to run the best experiment, so adding that cone cover somehow destroyed the MS balance. Moving on to the weapons, Astraea's weapon testing data aren't just for X-Share, they were also inspiration towards other Gundam's weapons too. The first main weapon is the GN Beam Rifle. This is an upgraded version of the beam gun from the old Gundam. In comparison, this rifle has better firepower and efficiency. It draws power from the forearm's hardpoint. Thanks to the new internal GN condensers, the rifle will keep charging and storing GN particles during standby mode, allowing Astraea to fire rapidly with the GN Beam Rifle. Another range option is the GN Launcher, another new GN technological weapons experiment. Before GN condensers were finally adjusted, this weapon is very flawed, as it cannot fire just by connecting to a hardpoint power source. It must instead be connected on the clavicle hardpoint to start charging. During the early stages of the experiment, the GN Launcher was not collecting and releasing particles correctly. When Astraea tries to use it, it will cause a backfire problem and GN particles were leaking from the entire launcher. Later, this problem was fixed with some adjustments towards the internal part and GN condensers. Another good news is Astraea can fire it without using the clavicle hardpoints to charge it. Despite it being possible to fire with standard charging, the clavicle hardpoints still remain as the best method. Astraea can carry 2 launchers on hand and 2 on the clavicle hardpoints, although it sacrificed the particle control due to the loss of the clavicle antennas, but now the 4 launchers will form into the quad cannon. And when fired together, instead of shooting 4 beams, they will combine into one large high-power attack. A little fun fact: quad cannons testing data also lead to GN bazookas' successful development. For close-range testing, Astraea has a pair of GN beam sabers on the back waist. Unlike the beam saber on the old Gundam, they possesses an internal GN condenser, which means the beam saber is still functionable after disconnecting from the power source. One of the most famous weapons is the Proto-GN sword, which is already technologically close to the GN sword on X-Share, except the lack of a rifle mode. This sword is huge, and to make sure it doesn't hinder the arms, is designed to be foldable. Unlike its successor, Proto-GN sword is physically sharp, but the cutting power cannot be enhanced with GN particles. While it's more suitable to slice the target with GN beam sabers, Proto-GN sword is better with striking the enemy to make them lose their balance and finish them off with a stab. Since Proto-GN sword is connected onto the forearm's hardpoint, the hand is free and Astraea can carry the GN beam rifle or GN launcher. You can sort of see the rough inspiration of the GN sword's final idea. Soon, the idea was turned into reality. Astraea was equipped with the GN sword test version for the first time. This is the same GN sword on X-Share, except the internal parts were different and adjustments were not complete. Another 7-sword prototype weapon was once equipped on Astraea 2 is the Proto-GN short blade and Proto-GN long blade. They look exactly the same like the one on X-Share, except with incomplete adjustments as well. But during a mock battle, these proto blades already proved to be partially successful, as they can block GN beam sabers and cut through GN fields. For defense, Astraea will mount a GN shield on the forearm. It's made from E-carbon and the weight is light. It's very effective against beam or ballistic attack and can absorb shocks too, as the shield is GN particle coated. Lastly, we'll finish the weapon section with a new MBBS setting, the Proto-GN High Mega Launcher, and there's little information about it. According to the MB menu, this is the Gundam Salone Ice GN Launcher's prototype. The launcher will rotate and unfold itself during firing, linked to a large GN shield, and assumed to have another GN condenser inside the shield to charge the launcher. In the end, this weapon never turned into reality, as the charging time is too long, the launcher is unstable, and there's no point to develop such weapon when basically no factions can overpower the Gundams. However, canonically, this launcher's existence is conflicted. Although Gundam Salone series is developed from the leaked old Gundam data, but by the time the development began, this proto-launcher doesn't even exist. Thus, having the Salone Ice GN launcher be based off the proto-launcher makes zero sense. I cannot find a source to fully read OOP, so I can only provide with battle records that I can find. There might be records missing too. Astraea first appeared for space environment testing. The pilot is Rudo Resonance, aka Philodor Grace's father. The testing went alright, but the data was not fully accurate, as CB cannot expose themselves and unable to send the Astraea to do Earth environment testing. There was one good news: despite the simulations being completed completed in Chrome Fab. The technicians were able to identify multiple issues on the Proto-GN sword, which helped complete the weapon furthermore. The next testing was the GN launcher. Astraea was piloted by Cho Acoustica. CB decided to test the launcher outside the colony, as testing inside the colony requires lowering the power and came with many restrictions, resulting in incomplete data. Outside the colony, Cho was charging the launcher. The test team chose a tough astronaut and asked Cho to shoot towards it, which was destroyed but exemplified the serious leakage of the launcher. Luckily, Cho and Astraea were fine. After Gundam Pluton was completed, Marlon Flady, aka Philidor Grace's mother, was chosen to be the test pilot of it. This experiment was testing the GN composite armor on Pluton. To avoid any accidents, Rudo lowered the output of the launcher to 50%. Rudo completed the experiment perfectly. Pluton's chest armor was destroyed, but the inner layer was protected by GN composite armor, which solidified its success. The next mission was intercepting an unknown H.L.M.S battleship. Gundam Meister X-74 piloted the Sedao suit and learned that the H.L.M. battleship was manned with military deserters. They were planning to occupy Crown Fab, hold it for ransom, then flee to a third country. Despite Rudo being very uncomfortable with killing people, he pulled the trigger and destroyed the H.L.M. battleship with the double GN launcher. As the space environment testing was finished, Vader ordered to complete the rest of the testing on Earth. While the Gundam Meisters were being transported to another place, a town on the route was wiped out by 4 Phantoms. Vader ordered X-74 to destroy the Phantoms and finish the mission in 36 seconds. The battle was one-sided, as Phantoms cannot withstand beam attacks or the sharp Proto-GN sword, while the GN particles blocked any form of communication, meaning the H.L.M. pilots cannot call for backup or report the appearance of Astraea. Sudaosu and Astraea was soon launched again to collect information about submarine cables, and X-74 detected 4 AEU Helion initiums. Rudo then intercepted them with the Astraea. Although Astraea can fly in the atmosphere just like the enemy does, initiums were more agile during air combats. In the end, the initium team was shot down, but Rudo took 3 times more shot than the enemy just to destroy them. X-74 detected another AEU ship on the radar. Out of wanting to keep the organization's existence as secret, she was about to destroy the ship. Rudo stopped her as he didn't want to create more casualties. Vader suggested to finish the mission without killing, then recruited 2 members on the AU ship, Ian Vashti and Joyce Marano. Sometime later, the development of the second-generation Gundams was finished. Vader has ordered the preliminary test of the armed interventions. Marlin and Gundam Abuhu was supposed to engage the Initium team, but she was injured from the previous mission, so she was replaced by Rudo and Astraea. Thanks to Rudo's improved skills, he used 3 rapid shots to shot down 3 Initiums, then finished the intervention successfully. Several years later, the third-generation Gundams were in development. Although CB was working on the new Gundams, the second-generation Gundams were kept to provide instant data or run more quick testing. One day, a group of Initiums were piloted by terrorists. They were planning to crash into the H.L.M.'s orbital elevator. Vader ordered the Meisters not to interfere, as the calculations showed that the terrorists were most likely to fail. Cho disagreed the decision, and she insisted to stop the terrorist attack. Rudo came up with a plan, and it was approved by Vader. Astraea, Abuhu, and Pluton were subsequently deployed. The plan was to let the Pluton's GN drive and condensers to run wild. The particles would attract the attention and attract the Initiums towards Pluton. Then Pluton would slowly disable them because of GN particles. Cho would escape with the core fighter while Pluton kept releasing particles. Then either Rudo or Marlin would collect the Pluton back to the base. The plan worked like a charm for the first half. Pluton's core fighter malfunctioned at the critical moment. The GN drive and condensers were continuing to run wild, putting Cho in danger. In the final moment, Rudo and Marlin pulled Cho out, while they sacrificed their life as they were exposed in a dangerous amount of GN particles. As the chaos was over, X-74 and another unknown pilot retrieved the 3 Gundams. Cho finally woke up from her coma, and she didn't lose her life, but a huge scar was left on her left body and left eye. Her hair permanently turned white due to the dangerous GN particle exposure. After the recovery, Cho proposed a shadow support team to support the H.L.M.S team, Farish, which was approved by Vader. The team received all the second-generation Gundams, along with all Gundam and its drive. Except Pluton, the other 3 Gundams were all upgraded to Type F. The F in the name stands for Farish. Astraea Type F is the new Astraea. After the second-generation Gundams were transferred to Farish, they were severely outdated. It's impossible to provide support with 15-year-old Gundams. Despite the technological gap, Type F didn't really change too much aesthetically, as the upgrades were mostly internal. It was given a new paint job, changing from the tricolor scheme to red with maroon and brown highlights. Due to the fact Farish must act secretly, there's a sensor mask on the face to cover Astraea's identity, as well as increasing the sensing abilities. The sensor mask is removable if it's damaged, but if the mask is off, it means Fawn Spark will kill everyone to protect the secret. Come on, do you really think a little mask can hide your very Gundam-like body? Don't you think it's a little stupid? For the GN drive, every Farish Gundam will share the old Gundam's drive. As I explained before, the cone cover will destroy Astraea's balance, so when the Type F heads out for missions, the cone cover will be removed to keep the free thruster drive. Due to Fawn being classified as a dangerous character, every Farish Gundam's cockpit will have a docking port for Hana-Yo, who will serve as a support in normal occasions, but if Feather detects that Vaughn intends to betray the organization, Hana-Yo got her own access to trigger the bomb on Vaughn's neck. Additionally, Type F can use H.L.M.S system too, but it's only available when old Gundam's drive is on the Type F. The weapons are very confusing. I'll keep adding more explanations as the episode kept rolling forward. For Type F, it's pretty much unchanged from the weapons from Astraea. The only new weapon is the GN Falcons. They are located in the forearms. Farish has a messy battle record as Vaughn used all 4 Gundams in different missions. Type F first appeared in OOF Chapter 3. Vaughn easily swept an unknown H.L.M. base. The next appearance is in Chapter 7. Some of the UN forces discovered a resource satellite at Area 923. To prevent resource loss, Vaughn quickly destroyed a group of Union flag, Orbit Package, and the Virginia-class carrier. After the battle, Vaughn met the Farish crew in the supplement base. Hana-Yo saw the defeat of Celestial being through the Feather Data Storm. By the time Vaughn headed out again, the battle was already over. While Vaughn was searching through the wreckage, he found the GN drive of Curios. He kicked a disabled Jinx that happens to be Patrick Kawasala sitting in it, as well as the severely damaged Nadole, but Vaughn didn't save Tilia and headed back to the base. After Celestial being fell, Astraea Type F received an upgrade using the remaining parts of Exia. Astraea Type F2, this upgrade is proposed by Vaughn himself after he recovered the parts from the resource satellite. Although Astraea Type F didn't perform terribly thanks to Vaughn's skills, a lot of parts on the Type F is still shared with the original Astraea from 15 years ago. First, the antenna is upgraded. It's now able to control GN particles like the 2 clavicle antennas. One of the weaknesses of Type F was that particle control must be sacrificed if it needs to equip the GN launchers. With this new antenna upgrade, F2 can increase GN particle control efficiency by 40%. There's one downside though. This new antenna would decrease the communication capabilities, but Vaughn always liked to go solo, so it's not a big deal for him. Secondly, the hard points on the legs and forearms are removed, replaced by GN condensers from Exia. Thirdly, F2 went through some internal changes, allowing it to operate with either a GN drive or GN condenser as the power source. Lastly, the H.L.M.S system is kept but now has a new feature called GN reflection. Developed by Sherlyn Hyde, F2 has a new head antenna that allows more precise GN particle control, which led to the possibility to use this new feature. GN reflection is only usable during H.L.M.S. The theory is to manipulate a small amount of particle to a specific part of the MS. If a beam shot or beam saber hits that specific part, it would deflect or reflect the attack back to the opponent. However, the timing must be perfect. Otherwise, the deflection or reflection will fail and it has a chance to increase the damage dealt on the F2. Normal pilots will not use this feature. Vaughn is the only one that used it successfully. For the weapons, Type F and F2 has 0 changes, so they share the same weapons as well as the ability to equip the sensor mask. After CB has fallen, Vaughn acted on his own and continued to change the world his own way. Hexavermi, aka Eye of Veda, happens to have been ordered to follow Vaughn. He attacked the Farish base and stole the Zedao suit Type F. Vaughn came back with the Abuhu Type F and fought Hexa. However, Hexa still able to run away easily. Vaughn deliberately approached Hexa a few times and grew more interest in Hexa as he wanted to know how he would change the world with Feather's privileges. In Midwestern Africa, UN forces has deployed a team to sweep the anti-UN forces in that area. Hexa was observing the battle in the Zedao Soup Type F, but the optical camouflage was spotted by a Jinx. Vaughn appeared just in time and destroyed the Jinx, stated that he is looking forward to what Hexa will do, and gave up the GN drive retrieval order. After Vaughn went back to the Farish base, he has a different perspective from Chor when it comes to seeing the world. He decided to leave Farish and took the F2. Fawn gathered a group of anti-UN force planning to do something big and get the innovators' attention. Meanwhile, Chor announced in a meeting with the remaining Farish members that Fawn is now the traitor A13. A-class traitor means most wanted in the organization. Chor also decided to ask Hexer to take down Fawn as his beliefs and perspective no longer align with CB. On Earth, Astraea F2 and the anti-UN force attacked the UN force missile base. It went alright until 3 Jinx 2 showed up. Fawn activated H.L.M.S and quickly took all 3 Jinx 2 out. However, the missile base is a decoy, as all it contained were old rockets. Fawn decided to split up with the anti-UN force. He accomplished his goal and decided to head into space. Fawn used the old rocket and hid himself from the UN force's observation and arrived at the Farish work-use spaceship, Euclides. Hanayo is not entirely agreeing on Chor's decision, as she don't want Fawn and Chor to be enemies, so she asked Sherilyn to upgrade her data form and reached to Fawn, who is in the Euclides. Soon, Hexer located Fawn. Fawn subsequently headed out in the F2, engaged with Hexer and Sedalsuit Type F. However, Hexer was on the fence about killing Fawn, as he is not sure what Fawn is doing and feared making a mistake. Fawn attempted to clear Hexer's hesitation. He activated H.L.M.S and charged towards Hexer. Hexer responded to his action and activated Sedalsuit Type F's H.L.M.S, but he didn't really intend to fight Fawn. Fawn felt unsatisfied and began to retreat. Hexer finally made his mind and asked Hayana to give him the GN sniper rifle. Right before both Gundams H.L.M.S ran out, Hexer shot the F2 and badly damaged it. Hexer gave up the pursuit as Sedalsuit Type F's H.L.M.S is over, and Fawn hid himself in the Euclides for a few months, ready to do something big. Few months later, Fawn appeared again and attacked a UN force factory in Lagrange 1. After the battle was over, Brain Stability approached to Fawn in his Gundam Pluton Black. Brain offered to support Fawn as he believed that Fawn is doing the greater good for humanity, but Fawn laughed off and questioned Brain in return. After Brain went silent, he revealed that his authority behind him is the innovators. As Fawn and Brain are being transparent to each other, Fawn accepted the offer and started his own plan, reviewing his plan of using astronauts and dropping them onto UN force bases and the Union Tower. Hexer appeared again, trying to figure out Fawn's plan. He engaged with Fawn, but the battle was interrupted by Brain as he shot Sedalsuit Type F's right sensor shield. The battle turned into Brain versus Hexer. Hexer questioned Brain as he doesn't understand why Brain will help Fawn achieve his insane plan. Brain explained that Hexer is an innovator too. They were made to be far superior than human. Fawn's plan will help to accelerate humanity's unity. Hexer disagreed about innovators being gods. He activated H.L.M.S and shot through Pluton Black's GM field. Brain was defeated and escaped with the core fighter. On the other side, Fawn brought the astronauts and detonated them. The ashes blocked the sunlight and Fawn's true plan worked. As the electricity system around the atmosphere is damaged, Fawn located Vedder's whereabouts through the remaining electricity power source. Hexer don't understand why Fawn is blocking sunlight around the atmosphere. Fawn invited him to come along, and they found Vedder at the dark side of the moon. Both of them launched out in their Gundams, but they were approached by a black Sever Ratio, piloted by a copy of Hexer and Grave Violento. The clone Hexer claimed that only one Hexer is enough. The real Hexer stated that a clone cannot replace him, as he saw the world by himself and now learned about his own value. The real Hexer and clone Hexer went into battle, while Fawn went ahead and fought the Innovator Gundams. The battle between both Gundams continues. The clone Hexer sent out Proto-GM bits and forced the real Hexer to activate H.L.M.S. On the other side, Fawn activated H.L.M.S. The F2 easily took down Astraea, Sedalsuit, and Abuhu Type F Black, leaving Fawn to 1v1 Brain and his Pluton Black. Meanwhile, the real Hexer took down every Proto-GM bits. He turned around and shot down the Black Zephyr, killing the clone Grave. The clone Hexer is laughing about Vedder can always copy a new one, but the real Hexer triggered his clone self by explaining how irrelevant his clone life is. The clone Hexer lost his cool and charged towards the real Hexer. The battle ended with Black Lazio being destroyed by Sedalsuit Type F. Fawn, still engaged in battle with Brain, used the GN reflection to deflect the beam shots and beam saber attack. Then he slashed through the Pluton Black and Brain retreated again in the core fighter. Despite Fawn having destroyed the Pluton Black, the F2 was severely damaged and purposely abandoned by Fawn. When Fawn entered into Vedder, Li Bongsi already transferred all the data and Fawn is left with an empty Vedder terminal. Later, Fawn disappeared from the world, Farish has retrieved the Astraea F2 and the GN drive. Ribonzo took advantage of this failed plan of Fawn and convinced the government to form H.L.M.S. After Farish retrieved the F2, it was fitted with a GN condenser and piloted by Eco Calor for one test. Eco is assigned to test the newly developed GN hammer, but the testing was interrupted by Amy Zimbalist's Advanced Jinx. F2 and Advanced Jinx went into battle for a short period of time, but Eco retreated under Cho's command. Astraea Type F Black is developed with the blueprint in Veda, changing the power source from a GN drive to GN drive Tau. This Type F is the exact same one like the one Fawn piloted. Every armament and feature is the same as the original Astraea Type F. The only difference between Type F and Type F Black, besides the colors, is the inability to activate H.L.M.S, as during that period, GN Drive Tau had no such feature. After Fawn defeated the Innovator Gundams, he abandoned his Astraea Type F2 and left the GN Drive to be retrieved by Farish. He retrieved the battle wreckages of the Innovator Gundams, repaired them, and repainted them back to Farish colors for his own use. This variant is known as the Astraea Type F Unit 2. Unit 2 is literally the same as the original Astraea Type F, except it's now powered by GN Drive Tau. Since it's powered by GN Drive Tau, Unit 2 lost the H.L.M.S system. Unit 2 is equipped with the same weapon like the original version. There are 4 new weapons available for the Unit 2. The first one is NGN Bazooka. Full name is No GN Bazooka. Designed by ESF forces, Fawn obtained them while he raided an ESF force base. It fires physical projectiles like particle disruption shells, GN missiles, normal missiles, and even beam shots if modified. NGN Bazooka contained 6 to 7 rounds in one magazine. Fawn will dispose this weapon after the magazines are emptied. The second new weapon is the GN hand missile. This is the same one used by Gundam Kyrios. It has 3 launching tubes. Each GN hand missile has 9 missiles. The tubes contain GN missiles or other warheads. Unit 2 can carry 4 GN missiles through the hard points on the forearm and legs and will be disposed after used. The third new weapon is GN beam pistols, the same one used by Gundam Dynamis. They are small and stored in holsters on the legs hard points. This pistol consumes little particles and capable of rapid fire. Unit 2 will equip them during the full weapon form and Fawn will dispose them after use. The last weapon is the GN hammer, designed by Hanayo and manufactured by Certain. The hammer is connected by a cable which can be used to retract the hammer, control its directions to make it unpredictable, or use it to strangle the opponent. The actual hammer has spikes, which is made from the same material used on Double Gundam 7 Sword's GN Kata and Double Orize's GN Sword 3. The spikes are very sharp, capable of punching through a MS or creating enough impact to knock out the pilot inside the MS. Even if the target's armor is thick, the spikes can be powered by the GN condenser inside the hammer to release GN particles, causing damage from the inside like GN missiles. To add more impact power, there are 4 verniers at the back of the spike board to create acceleration. The GN hammer is very powerful and it consumes little particles to cause damage to the target. When not in use, the GN hammer will be stored on the side of the hips. Fawn appeared again in AD 2312 with his new Astraea Type F Unit 2. Fawn attacked an unknown base and fought a squad of Jinx 3, which was destroyed by him without any problems. After the battle was over, beside Pain appeared in the Iron Gundam and revealed that this is a test. Fawn was not happy about being lured out for a boring offer. The negotiation was broken and the Iron Gundam started to attack Fawn. Shortly, Fawn managed to catch a window and stab the Iron Gundam with Proto GN Sword. Beside was injured badly and Iron Gundam ran away, but Fawn had Hanayo track Beside with his own Veda terminal. After the battle, Fawn tracked the location of Cho and met with Talicia Hervey. Meanwhile, the severely injured Beside headed back to the base and ready to transfer his consciousness to a new body. Fawn used the GN hammer and punched through the wall, ready for round 2. Beside is questioning Fawn, asking why Fawn kept pursuing him. Fawn revealed that his goal is to get involved into gathering the 6 comrades. The conversation was interrupted. Regina Regetta sent Free Garoso to support Beside to run away. Despite Fawn took out Free Garoso with the GN hammer easily, but Beside ran away during the chaos. After Fawn took Leaf Recitativo's body back to Euclides, Hanayo picked up Beside's movement again. Vaughn was ready to settle the final score with Beside and equip the Avalanche Dash unit on his own unit too. Avalanche Astraea Type F Dash is using the same Avalanche and Dash unit that was tested on the Ixia, but because this equipment is mainly for the Ixia lore, I will just explain it quickly without too much detail. Vaughn looted this equipment from the Reborn CB facilities and forcibly fitted on his own Astraea Type F. Since it's a forced fitting, the front skirt of the Avalanche unit is not equipped due to structural differences. The whole unit has two different modes, high mobility and high speed mode. High mobility mode enhances the and back performance. By unfolding the armor parts on the shoulder, knees, and back of the legs, it shifts the Gundam's center of gravity. With the mass manipulation effect of the GM particles, Avalanche Astraea Type F Dash can move around quickly in space without consuming any particles for direction changing. High speed mode is unfolding the whole Dash unit, prioritizing the particles for linear acceleration. Although high speed mode is super fast, the particle consumption is high. If needed, Avalanche and Dash unit can be ejected at any time. Additional info for the force fitting is not sure whether the particles will be released in green or red. No source gave a clear answer about how the Unit 2 somehow able to adapt the original GM particle condensers, and no information about how Vaughn charges the GM condenser. Astraea Type F Dash got two beam sabers on the Avalanche unit, GM beam rifle stored on the hip, GN shield, GN hammer, GN sword from Ixia, and GN claws on the Dash unit. GN claws will unfold from the Dash unit when needed. Aside from catching the target, it can deploy a separate GN field on the claws to increase the hitting power. Also, the center part of the claws can generate GN beam saber. Avalanche Astraea Type F Dash has two deployment records. Between Double I, Chapter 11 and 12, Hanayo picked up an odd energy reading from an empty moon base. Vaughn arrived and realized that it's a trap set up by the innovators. Two Empress approached and attacked Vaughn, and the Avalanche Astraea Type F Dash was damaged by the Empress combo attack. Vaughn shakes them off and hid in the moon base. Since Empress is too big, the two units can only wait for Vaughn to come out and kill him. While Vaughn was hiding, the sensors picked up an energy reaction. Vaughn realized the base is about to explode. He used the high-speed mode to escape. He got out just in time before the explosion consumes the Gundam, resulting in the Empress being unable to track him. Few months later, Regener gathered the 6 comrades inside the orbital elevator, who are the observers of the world, formed by 6 awakened innovates. Regener Rejector can control GN drive, shutting it down or activate it at will by Veda's help. Talisia Hervey can use his power to make an innovate awaken the specific ability. Leaf Recitativo can locate the suitable observers through his power. Brain Sondheim has the ability to connect every observer. Lars Grice has the ability to control Veda-linked MS and weapons, and Hermia has the ability to erase memories if an observer is voted to be eliminated, a process called reset. Together, all 6 members will observe the world to make sure Aeolia's plan is going the right direction. As Regener realized that his abilities are far superior, he decided to eliminate the rest of the 5 comrades to get new people that fits his own plan. Besides, attack the orbital elevator under Regener's command. Hexa and Hayana came with the Sedao Type F and GN Sefa. Regener controlled the Sedao Type F and immobilized it, allowing Ice Gundam to destroy it with his Alvaron cannon. However, Sedao Type F is a decoy piloted by Aharo. Hexa crashed into the Ice Gundam and opened the cockpit, shooting Beside in the head, and finally avenged for his friend, Grave Violento. Due to the previous attack from Ice Gundam, the orbital elevator was about to disassemble itself. Leaf volunteered to stop the destruction and headed out with the Ice Gundam, using a large amount of GM particles to manipulate mass and stop the balancer units from falling apart. However, Beside is still alive in the Ice Gundam system. He took over Leaf's consciousness and attempted to kill the new observers. Vaughn came out with the Avalanche Astraea Type F Dash, briefly engaged with Ice Gundam. Vaughn used the Avalanche and Dash unit as decoy and bait Beside to shoot at him. He then ejected the equipment and disarmed the Ice Gundam. At the same time, Leaf finally won and removed Beside from his consciousness. After the battle, the innovators arrived and explained that they aren't here to fight and retrieved the Ice Gundam. With 1 observer is missing, Leaf invited Vaughn to be the 6th observer, but he turned down the invitation and disappeared from the world again. AD 2314, Veda has re-established the warrant of Vaughn's Spark. It ordered Leo Sage to kill Vaughn, preventing Vaughn from further interrupting the conversation. Vaughn launched in his own Astraea Type F and engaged Garm Gundam. Thawne activated H.L.M.S and attacked Leo, which he responded by activating Garm's Gundam's H.L.M.S. However, Leo's quantum brainwaves attracted H.L.M.S to come over. Thawne deliberately allowed H.L.M.S to assimilate his Astraea Type F and tricked Leo believing that he is dead in the cockpit. Soon, Hanayo retrieved him and pulled him out. Thawne revived again with the recovery treatment. The Astraea Type F has completely assimilated with and upgraded by H.L.M.S. The following 3 variants are Metal Build bull, so let's quickly go through them. The first one is Gundam Astraea Type X Zethythonix, developed by the innovators. Since I'm a poor man, I can't afford the metal build just to explain the lore. Type X Zethythonix is pretty much the same Astraea Type F that we know, except the face is covered by a new piece that enhanced the long-range combat abilities, and the colors are different. So far, Type X Zethythonix is known as a Gundam that operates secretly, observing celestial being and letting the innovators monitor the organization. For the weapons, Type X Zethythonix can use 2 GN beam daggers or GN beam sabers, GN hammer, GN hand missile, GN pistols, and GN bazooka, 2 proto-GN swords on the forearms, 2 Astraea's GN shield on the shoulder, 2 shields that are like the one on Jinx, and GN sharp shooter. Astraea 2 is a brand new Gundam designed to test a new system called Double Drive System. This system requires 2 GN drives to make it work. The combination must be either 2 GN drive or 1 GN drive and 1 GN condenser, as it won't work if both power sources are GN condensers. The theory difference between double drive and twin drive system is simple. The double drive is addictive. Twin drive is multiplicative. Although the Gundam name is inherited from Gundam Astraea, Astraea and Astraea 2 are not on the same page in terms of design and technologies. Astraea 2's weapons are the prototype and testing concepts for the weapons used by the 4th generation Gundams. It has a GND beam rifle, GN beam saber, GND shield, and Proto-Zen unit. Proto-Zen unit will mount on the back or connect to the left shoulder's GN power source for recharging. The Proto-Zen unit is formed by a backpack part and 2 GND Buster Sword free. The swords can detach from the backpack part and allow Astraea 2 to dual-wield swords. If long-range shooting is needed, Astraea 2 can equip another part onto the swords and form the rifle mode. When both swords combined, it became the long sword mode. Not only is the destructive power very strong, the long sword mode can also function as a shield to block incoming attacks. Lastly, just like all the 3rd generation Gundams, Astraea 2 has optical camouflage to turn itself invisible when it's stationary. Astraea 2 and Type X Zethythonix shared the same storyline for now. Type X Zethythonix first appeared during Device H.L.M.S and Device X-Year testing. It shot towards both Gundams. The scene ended with Setsuna charged towards Type X Zethythonix. The second appearance is when Setsuna and Lasse Ion were testing the GN Arms Type E. Type X Zethythonix sniped from far away. Setsuna ejected the device unit and pursued the Type X Zethythonix and destroyed it with the GN Arms Type E's large-size GN sword. However, another unit was still observing the battlefield from far away. After Celestial Being has fallen, Teliade launched in the Gundam Astraea 2, heading towards Area B13 to retrieve resources. The Raider picked up 3 Gundams, a new Type X Zethythonix, I Gundam Type X-Year, and H.L.M.S. Telia used the GND Buster Sword 3 to destroy the Innovator X-Year and H.L.M.S. He ended the battle with 2 shots to destroy the Type X Zethythonix. The last MB variant is Gundam Astraea High Maneuver Test Pack. I don't have the MB, I can only explain with my poor Japanese reading skills. This pack is the predecessor or draft concept before Avalanche and Dash Unit became reality. It contained the same high mobility and high speed mode too. I can't understand the info correctly. I can only assume it does similar things like the Avalanche X-Year or Avalanche Astraea Type F Dash. This MB variant contained a lot of duplicated weapons. By equipping them differently, you will get 5 variations. By equipping the Shoulder GN Vernier Test Pack set and 2 Proto GN Twin Broad Blade, you will get Anti-Large Target Assault Type. The Proto GN Twin Broad Blade is detachable, but during combined form, it got strong destructive power that can destroy large target or battleship. When the shoulder verniers are removed, putting the original Astraea weapon back on and adding X shields, you'll get Proto GN Shield test type. When dash units are on the legs and the broad blades are separated and mounted onto the back and waist, it became high mobility test type. When equipped one shoulder vernier, dash units, Proto-GN High Mega Launcher, and GN launchers, you get the long-range support type. Once every weapon and additional parts that I just mentioned is on the Astraea, it has two names in the menu, either Gundam Astraea High Maneuver Test Pack or Avalanche Gear Sickness. I'm not digging anymore because the info stops here. I'm not buying an MB for this episode. Thanks for watching. Special thanks to Zetsubo squeezing his time and trim the images. We are done for part 1 of Astraea and X-Year. Please subscribe and hit the bell next to it for part 2, which is X-Year itself. This episode is long, not because how complicated the lore is, mainly because the storyline already took half of the screen time. I will try to finish the X-Year episode ASAP. I know I got lazy for the last few months, but I'm back with 40% motivation. Oh yeah, join my Discord, link is in the description, and see you next time. Goodbye.